When many people think about espresso machines, more often than not, Italy comes to mind. I mean, it makes sense. It is the birthplace of espresso, but many other countries have sort of put their own abilities and skill sets into pressurized brewing. And one such country known for its precision in manufacturing has been producing this boxy, manual lever, single boiler espresso machine for 58 years, many of which are still on counters and fetching thousands of dollars on the resale market. This is the Swiss-made Olympia Cremina. Today, even though some materials have changed and some modern updates have been implemented, they're still being made to the same exacting specifications, focusing on quality and simplicity. So we're going to take a look at both my recently rebuilt 1977 and the brand new 2024 model, comparing their build, performance, and everything in between. But first, before we dive in, a quick word from this video's sponsor. If you're into coffee, its culture, and learning about the world around it, Standart magazine is the perfect addition to your brew bar or coffee table. With quarterly releases, they shed light on issues both inside and outside of the cafe, highlight people who elevate the industry, and deep dives into new ideas around all things coffee. To sweeten the deal even further, each issue also includes a sample of coffee from some of the best roasters on the planet, to give you the full sensory experience. You really can't beat the combination of fresh coffee and fresh print. So head on over to standartmag.com/Sprometheus or use code Sprometheus at checkout to snag $5 off your very own subscription of coffee and culture, shipped direct to your door nearly anywhere in the world with a money-back guarantee. And if you're still on the fence, you can actually try Standart today for just the cost of shipping. There's not much to lose, and trust me, there's a lot to gain. So first up, let's start with what we can see, what's on the outside. At a glance, beyond the aftermarket handles and gauge on the new model, they don't look all that different. Both share the very same silhouette, a small base with a rectangular body, a bell-like stainless steel group head connected to a fork and lever. On its face, the overall layout remains the same, except on the newer unit, a boiler pressure gauge sits above the sight glass, which obviously shows its water level inside. And on the left side, just below the steam wand, the vintage unit has an illuminated power switch, which sits on the right side of the frame on the new unit. But both have a light that illuminates when the machine is heating, though the newer version has a little bit more flair to it, with Olympia's classic logo. The vintage units, on the other hand, have an Olympia Express badge on the back. Just like your mom has told you all your life, it's what's on the inside that counts. And truly, when it comes to espresso machines, in a lot of cases, that's undeniable. When it comes to the Cremina, new or vintage, what's inside is basically just a boiler, a wiring harness, and a pressure stat. On the vintage unit, at least this build year, still has the original style boiler, which comes to a T at the top and serves as a pathway for the steam into the valve and wand. In terms of the build materials, it's originally mostly brass, but over the years, it appears this one has had different metals and fixes, including a pretty heavy soldering I had to get done to block nearly 40 pinhole leaks. As you can see here, the new unit uses stainless steel for its boiler and utilizes a more direct connection for steam, though it is generally just as simple and clean as the original design, leading to its serviceability and repairability, and it's also set up to be just a bit more modular. But surprisingly, one thing that's stayed internal, at least in terms of being able to adjust it for both units, is the pressure stat, which requires the entire case to be removed to access and change the pressure. But overall, what you can really see here is that the major differences inside the units has been just small modern updates or changes in materials, outside of the fact that they sort of upped the boiler size from the original 1.1 liter to 1.8. When I sat down to make this video, I did consider sort of front-loading the performance section because I generally think that's what people really want to know. I mean, who doesn't want to see shots pulled side by side, steam pressures tested, and the overall quality of the machine's abilities explained and displayed? But I ended up putting the other two sections before it because I feel like it really sort of drives home the point of what I found in the performance realm, and that is that these two machines that were built 47 years apart perform almost identically, which, in my opinion, isn't a bad thing. I can say when it comes to brewing, steaming, and my general overall enjoyment of the machine, the new version didn't leave me wanting more out of the vintage unit. On both, the use of the lever is smooth and tactile. The control of your espresso is direct and engaging, and the steam power, even at the relatively low factory recommended pressure of 0.8 bars, gives me the power I need to create a nice whirlpool and get perfectly creamy latte art ready microfoam. And because the boiler isn't very big and the element is quick to heat and maintain temperature, you can easily run your shot in steam right after, or do some back-to-back shots with minimal time in between. Any amount of research you may do on the Cremina, and trust me, there is a lot out there, you may likely find or notice pretty quickly that it is a bit of a cult classic, and long before James Hoffmann did a video. And before I got my sticky little barista paws on one, I really didn't see what all the fuss was about. But having used them now for a handful of months, and compared to the seemingly hundreds of machines of various styles and abilities I've brewed on, the Cremina just hits on every single aspect I love about making espresso. In my mind, a boiler-based, direct lever machine delivers the best of both worlds in terms of temperature stability and control. And as someone who loves the classic design, its clean boxy body looks great almost anywhere. And truly, when it comes to that versus the newer version, what that brings to the table is just some small quality of life upgrades. And much like the outside, the inside, or the performance of this machine, the cons of it tend to transcend which model you have, whether it's new or old. And in a lot of the cases, those things can be remedied or fixed with a relatively inexpensive modification, like a newer style anti-vacuum cap to avoid having to release false pressure that builds up when you first turn on the machine, or a single hole steam tip that swaps in seconds and instantly increases the power and control of the wand. In the end, the Cremina line of espresso machines are a testament to good engineering and design. They're not incredibly complex, so they are simply maintained and repaired, and it's built without cut corners in terms of its materials. I mean, you won't be able to find much plastic on either the new or old machines, and you can make fantastic espresso as long as you're willing to learn the craft. But on that note, I think it's time I start wrapping this one up, and as always, pass the conversation on to you. So what are your thoughts about the Olympia Cremina, either new or old? Do you think they're worth the price and all the praise, or do you think they're overrated? Drop your answers to those questions and any others you may have in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications when new videos drop. Check out my Instagram @Sprometheus for more coffee content. Help support the channel by considering becoming a member for exclusive access. And as always, stay caffeinated. Pony Boy.